All right, welcome everyone back to the TD SportsPress podcast. We are back on this Tuesday night. We have our prediction show where we get to about half the games today, then we'll get to half the games on Thursday, so stay tuned for the other half. But my name is Treyson Dayton, and welcome back to our podcast we got going for you. We'll start off the show with our TD poll. We'll show you what our top 25 looks like after Week 9's craziness. If you guys didn't see our Week 9 takeaway show, go check it out on a back video. And then we'll go right into our predictions right there. And then we'll just lead off with the show. But starting off, like I said, there's a lot of jobs right now that are open, and we talked about that last week. There's a couple I have my eye on. Auburn is a job that I have my eye on with Hugh Freeze. I don't know how much longer he is going to be there. So that's a job I have my eyes on right now. I'm very I don't want to get into that, but that's what I would say. My job of the week that I'm interested in is Auburn and Hugh Freeze and how long that guy's going to stay there. I mean, they did beat Arkansas last week, but is that going to be enough for him to save his job to next year? I don't know. Brent Venables, he has a huge game coming up. We'll talk about Tennessee and Oklahoma on Thursday. So we'll be talking about a lot of different games going here. But without further ado, let's hop right into our TD poll that we have. We think we're better than the AP poll over here. We'll start at number 25 here. At number 25, we have Michigan. We have Michigan back in the rankings. We had Utah at number 26, Michigan at 25. The reason why we have Michigan at 25 is Michigan has a better win than Utah. Michigan has a win against Washington, and Utah's best win is Colorado. Therefore, we put Michigan at 25. Back at our rankings, we have number 24, Memphis, after their huge profile win against UCF. Puts them right back in the mix in the AAC. At 23, we got Navy. Navy's going to have some harder games coming up starting this week. So we'll see if Navy is for real undefeated. So at number 22, we didn't have Texas move at all. Texas at number 22. Yeah, that's just, I don't understand. Yep, they just find ways to win. We'll leave it there. Texas has found a way to win the last couple weeks. Hasn't been pretty, but they've been able to find a way. Number 21, we have Iowa. What does the AP poll do? How in the world is Iowa not ranked? Like, that's one of the craziest things, like, in the AP they've done the entire year. Like, why would Iowa not be 21? If you guys didn't know, there was an AP voter that voted LSU to be number 21 after they got thumped by Texas A&M. I'll let you guess who it was. You guys probably already know who it was. Number 20, we got Houston with their big win against Arizona State on the road. That puts them at 7-1, 6-1, something right around there. And they got everything to play for. They might be a team that we're talking about in the Big 12 championship coming up. At number 19, we have Cincinnati. I think that's a good spot for Cincinnati. Huge game against Utah this weekend. College game days going there. I was not prepared for that to happen, but that's great for the Big 12 to get that exposure. Number 18, it's Missouri. I know this isn't supposed to be a predictive ranking, but it doesn't look good for Bo and the quarterback, and it's sad. They're coming off the loss of Vandy, 1 yard short. So, number 17, we have Oklahoma. Oklahoma's coming off a loss to Ole Miss in a game that they probably needed to have to make the playoffs. And they're going to play number 16, Tennessee. So Tennessee and Oklahoma, I wouldn't say either of them have that marquee win yet. I don't consider Michigan a marquee win. So whoever wins this is going to stay in the. I think this is a playoff eliminator match right here. So Tennessee, Oklahoma. We'll talk about this game more on Thursday night. Moving on, we got number 15, Louisville. Louisville State's Pat. They won. They did what they were supposed to. Number 14, Virginia. Finds ways to win. That's all that matters. They find ways to win. Number 13, we have Notre Dame. I think this is a good spot for Notre Dame. They're going to keep moving up. This is a reactive poll, so we react to things that happen, not to things to come. Obviously, if this was a predictive poll, then I would put Notre Dame in the top 10 because I think they're going to run the table. They still got a game against Pitt, which I'm very interested in how that's going to end up there. So, number 12, we got Texas Tech. Texas Tech's at number 12. They're on a week. We're a week away from BYU and Texas Tech. They still got to take care of business with Kansas State. At number 11, a lot of people have been coming at me for having Oregon at number 11. And I just want to take a second, and what's 8 through 11 is based off best win. Number 11, Oregon's best win is Penn State, who is currently 3-4. I agree. I think Oregon's a great football team, but is this not a reactive poll? Like, what are we basing this off of if we don't have Oregon at 11? Like Miami has beat Notre Dame. That's a better win than going to Penn State and winning. I said that. So I got Oregon at 11. I don't know why people have so much of a problem with that. I want a team to go out and prove the ranking. Number 9, we got Ole Miss. I think that's a good spot for Ole Miss coming off that win against Oklahoma. Number 8, we got Vandy. 8 or 9, I would say, are interchangeable. It just depends on what you call a marquee win. So, number 7, we have Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's undefeated in the ACC. They just find ways to win, kind of like some other teams in the ACC. We'll see if they can keep finding ways. Number 6, I would say my biggest winner of the week was BYU. All we heard last week, we talked about in the takeaway. I don't want to gloat too much, but BYU was our bet of the week last week. But BYU, I don't know how they're number 10. I don't know how you look at BYU's resume and say, yep, they're number 10. Especially if you put Oregon above BYU. How is Oregon in front of BYU? Oregon's best win is Penn State. BYU's best win is Utah. And I would say Utah's a better team than Oregon right now. If those two teams played, I'd pick Oregon to win. Number 5, I digress. We have Georgia. Georgia's at number 5. They stay put off the bye week, playing Florida this week. Number 4, Alabama. They survived the scare. They survived the scare from South Carolina. Number 3, we have Texas A&M. I think it's a good spot for Texas A&M after coming off, putting Brian Kelly into retirement. Number 2, we got Indiana. They just steamroll teams. They just steamroll teams. They have no regard for human life, and they steamroll teams. Number 1, Ohio State. I know a lot of people don't like that, but Ohio State's number 1 until someone beats them. It's that simple. When someone beats Ohio State, I will gladly move them where they need to be based off that. So, with that being said, that is our TD poll for Week 10 rankings. Like I said, check it out us on TikTok. We have this ranking every night on TikTok. So, we're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube right now if you're listening to us on Spotify. Thank you guys for listening to us. But yeah, guys, check out our YouTube. We're at 21 subscribers. Let's get to 30 subscribers by Sunday, which would be awesome if we could hit that. So, let's move on to our next portion of our show here. We're going to move into our game picks. Moving into our game picks here. So, we have number 9, Vandy, going to number 20, Texas. You look at both these teams, Texas, they find ways to win this game. It's not pretty. Like, sometimes the offense shows up, but the defense doesn't show up. And sometimes the defense shows up and the offense doesn't show up. The critical thing with this game right now is Arch Manning's in the concussion protocol as of Tuesday night when this is filmed. So I'm not sure the health of Arch Manning. That's something I'm going to keep my eye on. We got number 9, Vandy, who's played a gauntlet the last 4 of the last 5 games have been crazy. They played Alabama, then they had the bye week, then they played LSU and Missouri. Oh, excuse me. So when I look at this game, Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, it's gonna Texas defense. They have to guard the Vanderbilt tight ends. Like, those tight ends on Vanderbilt are the reason why I think they are what they are right now. Vegas has Texas favored -2.5. How do I see this game going down? I'm taking Vandy to win this on the road. I have not been impressed with Texas this entire year. If I'm basing this with Arch Manning and concussion protocol, I don't think that they can score enough points to stay with Vanderbilt. And yes, I'm saying Vanderbilt will score. I'm saying I don't know if Texas scores a touchdown against Vanderbilt. So that's what I'm basing off of if Arch Manning is not playing at the time of this recording. So I think Vanderbilt wins this game. I think they're going to find a way to win. This is not your same old Vandy last year where they had their Cinderella run, they beat Bama, and that's it. Like, if you guys remember, this game last year in Nashville was close for like 2 quarters. So I think Diego Pavia, this might be an actual Heisman moment compared to when he struck the Heisman pose on Saturday when he had 120 yards of total offense. So I'm going to take Vanderbilt to beat Texas. So give me the money line for Vanderbilt, I guess, because Texas is favored. So let's move on. Moving on, our next game here. We have Penn State going to number 1 Ohio State. Number 1 Ohio State, they have done exactly what they were supposed to do the last couple weeks. And then you got Penn State. They're hurting right now. 3-4, or Ohio State 7-0. And a lot of people have been saying that Ohio State hasn't played anyone the entire year. And I can see that argument. I really can. And then I look at, Penn State. Penn State got beat by Oregon. And I say that UCLA broke Penn State. It wasn't the other way around. But I digress. We look at this game here. The line is set at 20.5. I just don't see how Penn State can stop Golden Tate, Jeremiah Smith. They have a really good running back as well. Julian Sainz is a really good quarterback for Ohio State. I think Ohio State wins this game. I'm looking at 20.5. I don't know. I would stay away from it. I'm just going to take Ohio State to win this game. I think Ohio State, it would be funny if Penn State found a way to beat Ohio State, and this is the year they do it. Because, as you guys know, the narrative around James Franklin when he was the head coach of Penn State, if you didn't know he got fired, was that he never won he never won against Michigan, Ohio State. It would be funny if the first time Penn State plays Ohio State, they beat Ohio State. Not going to happen. Not predicting that to happen. I think Ohio State wins this game. So, it should be a really fun matchup. Moving on to our next game. There wasn't really too much to talk about with that one. Moving on. Number 13, Texas A&M plays Kansas State. And this is not the same Kansas State team from a month ago. I think Kansas State has really progressed as a team since they lost to Iowa State in week 0. And, yeah, that's what I would say. Texas Tech, their backup quarterback has ACL surgery. He's out, but their starting quarterback, Morton, is back from the reports that we've been seeing, so that's great for Texas Tech. But, if Morton stays, a little banged up, that's something to keep your eyes on. Kansas State's got Avery Johnson. I keep trying to say Avery Bradley, the NBA player. Avery Johnson. Kansas State, they put on a great performance against Kansas. They beat Kansas pretty handily last week, and I think that's a great win for Kansas State. Kansas State's back at 500. And so how do I see this game going down? Number 13, Texas Tech. I just think Texas Tech will outman Kansas State. When I'm talking about that, is I think Texas Tech will control the line of scrimmage. They'll be able to run the football. I think that Texas Tech will be able to run the football against Kansas State. Avery Johnson could have a spectacular game. That's definitely could be in the cards. But as I'm seeing this right now, I think Texas Tech wins this game. But it could be a trap game for them because they do play BYU next week. You don't want to look ahead to your next opponent. I would absolutely say that. So wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to stick with Texas Tech. They're the more they need to have this game. In my opinion, Kansas State's already out of the mix for the Big 12 championship. But if, Texas Tech's got to stay pace with BYU and Cincinnati, and this is like one of those must-win games that they have to stay pace with those two teams. So give me Texas Tech to win this game. I think this is going to be a great game. So Texas Tech to win this game. Moving on, let's go to our next game. We got number 15, Virginia, going to California. If you guys have been following Virginia football, the last couple weeks have been kind of interesting for Virginia. They've kind of struggled with two of the worst teams in the FBS, in my opinion, so far. They struggled with Washington State, who is they're 4-4. So, but a couple of those wins, they got blown out by North Texas. North Texas is a good team. Let me say that. And then you got California. That's just, they're lurking there. And I'm not sure about Virginia. This is a road trip for Virginia. We'll see what Virginia is in this game right here. So, how do I see this game going down? I'm going to take... Oh, man. I've been going back and forth. I'm going to take Virginia. I'm going to trust Virginia in this game. Is it right? No. Am I confident? Am I telling people to go bet on it? No, I would not. I would stay away from this game because I can see this game going two ways. Virginia comes ready to play after the last couple weeks. They've kind of not played up to what they can be. And Cal can just, come in and do what they want. So I would not be surprised if that's also the case. I'm going to take Virginia. I'm just going to trust them one more time. We're going to trust them one more time. Am I crazy for doing that? Probably. But I think that I'm very interested in this game. So big game in the ACC, especially for Virginia if they want to keep pace in the ACC championship race. So we'll be looking forward to that game. Moving on, let's stay in the ACC. We have number 10, Miami, who is a 12.5-point favorite against SMU. You talk about Virginia not living up to what they should be. Miami's another interesting team, I would say, because Miami, they were tied 7-7 at Stanford at halftime. And you got to give them credit in the second half, 35-7. And the SMU's in an interesting spot that makes this game interesting to predict. SMU got beat by Wake Forest last week. And I think, that was a field goal game. That was the field goal barely went in. I'm pretty sure it hit the pad after it went in or something like that. So, so how do we see this game going down? SMU was a team, the media darling last year, I would say. They posted a graphic last week that they won 18 straight conference games or something like that, and they got beat the next day, so I found that ironic. And then you got Miami leaving the state of Florida for the first time in the entire year. If you look at Florida's schedule, their only road games they've had so far were in Florida. So they're going to stay. They're going to leave the state and go to Texas, to Southern Methodist University. I think that SMU covers in this game. I think 12.5 is a lot of points. The reason why I say this, I think I'd feel differently about this game if SMU had beat Wake Forest, but SMU, they got their teeth knocked in last week against Wake Forest. I know it was a close game, but they were just, I was not ready or prepared for the way that they looked in that game. So, and then you look at Miami, we're going to see what they look like in the road. I think this is going to be a great atmosphere in Texas, so I'm very interested what SMU provides for a game day atmosphere against number 10 Miami and Carson Beck. And Tony as well is a really good receiver outside. So I think that SMU covers, but I think Miami wins the game. 12.5 points is just too much, I would say, especially in the game with SMU, who's still in the mix for the ACC. Like, they only have one loss. So, yeah, SMU to cover, Miami to win the game. Let's move on. All right, we're getting into the SEC games. We have number 5 Georgia going to play Florida in the neutral site game. I don't understand why this game is on neutral site. Please give me this game on home fields. Like, is that too much to ask for two rivals to play on each other's field? I'm so sick of all these rivalry games on neutral fields. Maybe that's just a hot take, but like, I want to see rivalry games played at each other's venues. Could you imagine Georgia going to the Swamp and vice versa? Florida going to going and playing Georgia in Athens? Like, is that too much to ask for? Like, can we stop playing this game in Jacksonville? And I think it's going to, Atlanta Falcons Stadium next year in the future. Like, is that just too much to ask for? But anyways, I digress. We look at this game, number 5 Georgia. This is Florida's first game since they fired Billy Napier. I think we're going to get an inspired effort from Florida. It might, they're going to play hard. Are they going to play smart? When you look at coaching changes, I would say for the most time, the next time the team plays, they have a lot better effort and attitude. But will that lead the win? I'll tell you a little bit in a second. Number 5 Georgia. They got they got a break after that huge win against Ole Miss. You can't look ahead in the SEC. Every game is tough. How do I listen? I think Georgia wins this game. I wouldn't touch the 7.5. I think I would just take Georgia to win this game. I think Kirby Smart's going to have this team ready to go, but I'm very interested to see what Florida rolls out there on Saturday. I'm not sure from a scheme-wise what they're going to be looking like. Is it going to be some of the same from Billy Napier? Is everything going to be different? But I'm very interested to see what Florida. It's kind of hard to predict Florida, but I'm going to say they're going to play hard. They're going to play. We'll see if they play smart. I don't know. So we'll definitely see if that's the case there. But I'm going to take Georgia to win this game. I think this is going to be a really good game. But can we please get this game back on campus? Is that too much to ask for? Just get this game back on campus. All right. We got number 23, USC, who are 6.5-point favorites, going to Nebraska in the blackout. And if you guys didn't know, Nebraska's having a blackout. It's only every other Twitter post, it's every other Instagram reel, every other TikTok. It's about Nebraska's blackout uniforms. We look at Nebraska. They beat Northwestern barely. I think it was a 6-point game or 7-point game. Nebraska they're 6-2. It just doesn't feel like they're 6-2. USC is in the same boat, but I think they've had a harder schedule. They've gotten beat by Notre Dame and Illinois. Both teams, or Illinois is not ranked anymore, but they were ranked, and then you got Notre Dame that's ranked 13. This is a playoff eliminator game. Like, this is we'll talk about another one, obviously, but USC Nebraska is a playoff eliminator game. I know a lot of people might not like that comment, but I just don't see a team like USC or Nebraska getting in because USC still has to go to Oregon. So how do I see this game going down? I believe in the blackout. I think Nebraska covers. I think they I don't want to get too wild. I think they cover the 6.5. I thought the Nebraska would honestly be favored. I'm going to take them to cover. I think I'm going to buy the hype in Nebraska and Matt Rule. I think they're going to cover this game. That's the blackout. Environment's going to be crazy. I just believe that they are going to find a way. They will find a way to keep this game close and have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to predict who wins this game. I'm going to say that Nebraska covers because I don't know who's going to win this game. I just think Nebraska keeps it close and has a shot to win in the fourth quarter. That's what it comes down to. And can Nebraska stop USC's run game? That's another thing. Nebraska's defense line has been terrible. I think a lot of people would agree with me. It's been awful. So I think Nebraska covers. I don't know who's going to win the game, though. Moving on. We have Purdue going to number 21, Michigan in the AP poll. Like I said, all these rankings are off the AP poll, not my poll. Michigan's a 20.5-point favorite. Purdue's a much improved team under Ryan Odom. I would say they brought in like over 80 transfers coming into this game. Michigan, they need to keep winning in order to keep their playoff hopes alive that are pretty slim. But hey, crazier things have happened. So Michigan and Bryce Underwood will be playing Purdue. I think Purdue covers the 20.5. I think Michigan wins this game, but I think Purdue covers. I think that's too many points for Purdue. Purdue's a much improved team. Like they've been playing with some teams lately. They've been scoring a lot. Their defense isn't that good, but they've been scoring. So I'm interested to see how Michigan approaches this game because they don't really put up the most points against some of their conference foes, I would say. So that's why I kind of see this game as kind of interesting. So I think Purdue will cover. All right, our last game we got in with our number 25 Memphis is a 13.5-point favorite against Rice. We're going to save the other big group of 5 game for later this week. How do I see this game going down? I think Memphis wins and they cover this game. I think that they're going to take off after that UC or USF game, and they're just going to take off from here. That's kind of what I see happening there. So, with that being said, that is our full show. Thanks for everyone that's been on here. Go check out our lives on TikTok and our posts on TikTok. We post every morning about 6:30, 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and then we're live every night about 5:30 to 7 p.m. Mountain Time when we don't have a show. When we have a show, it's more like 8 p.m. So, with that being said, we'll see you guys Thursday night. Leave a sub if you love the predictions. Let us know what prediction you like the most. And with that being said, we'll see you guys Thursday.